Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How's everybody doing? Excellent. Okay, I have a request for you guys. I want everybody to stand up. Okay, please, everybody, join me. I'm standing. Okay, so I want you, please, to take one step to the right, then one step to the left, and now sit down. When I was preparing my talk, I told my wife, I promise you I will move the crowd, and I just did. So I'm good with whatever the result of my talk is going to be. Okay. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man walahu ba'd. It's always great to be back to speak to my community that I'm so proud of here in Houston and in Texas Dawah Convention. You know, I call this a mini TDC, you know, in a short weekend, but it is something very sweet and special. Been hearing all the feedback about the previous lectures. I'm so happy that we are benefiting with this variety of talks and speakers. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward all the volunteers and the organizers and all those who are attending this convention and all those who work for our da'wah in our city and around the world. Allahumma ameen. Today I will choose to talk about the difference between fame and greatness. And it's not this one of these buzzwords that you Google it and you have all these differences between fame and greatness. That's not my point. You know, I'm not here to debate between the two, greatness versus fame, because I do believe that these two different things. And I don't believe that necessarily we need to do a debate between them, which one is more important and which one is the right one and the other one obviously will be bad. And this is something, it's a problem. Sometimes when you praise something, people automatically think that you criticize the other one. Or because you pay attention to one, it means you disregard the other. For instance, if the Sharia speaks about the virtue of having daughters, somebody comes and said, oh, that means there is bad to have sons. Or for example, if you talk about the rights of husbands, some people think, oh, why you ignore the rights of women, or they are not important to you? That's not true. You know, when it's always, you find this even in ilm sometimes. It amazes me when I read these debates between some scholars, when they debated between which one is better, to be rich or to be poor. You know, praising wealth and money doesn't mean that, you know what, criticizing being poor or don't have much money. Being poor doesn't in itself good thing, and being rich in itself is not a good thing. That's why Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah said it's all about the attitude. It's all about what is your attitude when you are rich, what is your attitude when you are poor. That will determine how good you are. And there's many things like this, okay? But here, I found it's very interesting in our days that sometimes, and many times actually, we mix between fame and greatness. To the extent a lot of people think greatness is fame, and they think famous people are great people. And this has become even their goal in life, and to be basically famous, and they think by being famous it means I achieved something great in life. And that's not true. You know, fame and greatness are two different things, and you should not mix between them. And mixing between them can lead to a disaster in da'wah, in your personal life, you know, in your life in general. Unfortunately, today, in a world which is a very materialistic world, in our society today, where the value of things are based on how much it's worth in dollars or gold, something very materialistic, you have to touch it to value it. This has become, you know, fame became basically the essence of greatness, which is absolutely not correct. Actually, most of the great things in life are not something there is a price tag on them. Great thing in life to be happy. There is no price tag for happiness. It's not something have a monetary value. Sometimes people are not at all famous, but they are great people. And today I want to focus on one aspect. There's many aspects of this talk, but one aspect I do believe that we are in great need for it as Muslims. Look at this incident where Anas ibn Malik radiallahu anh reported that one of the Prophet's companion, his name is Julaybib. وَكَانَ فِي وَجْهِهِ دَمَامَةٌ. He was not a good looking person. He doesn't dress well, he doesn't look attractive at all. Actually, it's the opposite. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, Julaybib, why are you still single? Why didn't you get married? Then he said, Ya Rasulullah, you will fight in no market for me. You know how some people, when they said they are, mashallah, hot item in the market, you put them in no time. She is getting engaged, or he is get married. They don't last long in the market. He said, Ya Rasulullah, tajiduni kasida. Nobody will pick me. Nobody will marry me. Nobody will care for me. I'm not that famous. I'm not that known. I'm not that, attractive person. People like, wow, looking up to me. I don't have the wow factor. Then the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to him, غَيْرَ أَنَّكَ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ لَسْتَ بِكَاسِدٍ. But I assure you, Julaybib, that you're in the eyes of Allah is very valuable person. And that also very close to another incident. We see how the Prophet ﷺ put things in the right perspective to understand the difference between greatness and fame. There is another companion of the Prophet ﷺ. His name is Zahir ibn Haram, which is a man that he used to live in the desert outside Medina. He's a Bedouin. And he used to say, whenever we want to go to the desert, we go to Zahir sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He found him once sallallahu alayhi wasallam in the market selling goods. So the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam came from behind of him and he hugged him and he held him like this and he grabbed him. In the old days, for you to understand, in the old days there is a very common concept that people who are weak, have no unknown people, will be usually stolen from the market. I mean that, kidnapped. And when they kidnap people, what they do to them, you think? They sell them as slaves, even though they were free men and women before, but they kidnap them and they sell them. So he was scared that this is happening to him. Somebody is kidnapping him. And he's not a very strong-built person. And he didn't know that this is the Prophet ﷺ. So he was so scared, and he started pushing me. He said, leave me alone, leave me alone. Then and he said, who are you, who are you? Then the Nabi ﷺ said to him, you didn't recognize me. When he heard the Prophet ﷺ, he immediately knew that this is Muhammad ﷺ. Then قال فألصق ظهره ببطن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. When he felt that, he started pushing his back against the Prophet ﷺ's body so it will touch the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ's stomach. Then the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, who will buy this slave? Who will buy this slave? Joking with him. قال زاهر يا رسول الله لتجدني عند الناس كاسدا. Ya Rasulullah, you will not find someone buy me. I will worth nothing. I'm worth nothing. Then the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, بل أنت عند الله غال. You are in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala a very valuable person. You are in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's eyes a very valuable person. Ya Rasulullah, I'm no one. You know, for Allah you are a great person. Can you imagine if this became your attitude in life? That this is the type of greatness that I want to achieve. Do you think that you are a great man or a great woman in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's eyes? Do you think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala proudly telling his angels today or tonight or every night and every day, look at my servant so and so, I'm so proud of him. I'm so proud of her. That's a value. That's something that it should be in the mind and the heart of so many of us, or all of us actually. It's not about how famous and how known and how many people like your post. It's how much Allah loved your post. How much Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loved your actions. How much Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala value you. and you mean something and so much to him, subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam give another example for us to wake up and to start looking at things from the right perspective. He said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, al-hadith sahih Muslim, he said, رُبَّ أَشْعَثَ أَغْبَرَ. Ash'ath is the one whose hair dusty. Aghbar is the one whose clothes dusty. This is a dusty person, doesn't have a home or, a proper place to live. He lives very poor, always traveling. مدفوع بالأبواب. Nobody opened the door for him. You pass and you let the ghost slam in his face. You don't care. He's not someone like, you care for. Or when he approached people, didn't people wait for him to open the doors and to welcome him? He's nobody. Even if some people look at him, they close the door, they don't care for him. But that person who means nothing to so many people on this earth, the Prophet ﷺ said, لَوْ أَقْسَمَ عَلَى اللَّهِ لَأَبَرَّهُ. Allahu Akbar. If that person, if he would make an oath or vow, and he said, he make a vow upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will honor that person's vow. Can you imagine? He said, Wallahi ya Allah, you will do this and this. Can you imagine? He reached to the level that he make a vow upon Allah. And if he does, the Prophet ﷺ said, Allah will honor it. Allah will never break that person's request. Allah will fulfill that person's request. And another interpretation to the hadith, that every time he make an oath, Wallahi, I will do this or I will do that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make sure that this person will be able to fulfill his or her promise. So he will never break a promise that he ever made or she ever made. Why? Because Allah doesn't want that person to be ever in a position where he will be seen, his words be seen broken, or his promise will be seen broken. Because Allah honor him so much, love him so much. In the story of Anas, Rabi' bint Nadir, when she broke somebody's teeth, and the family of that girl, her teeth broken, they said, we want her teeth to be broken too. Thaniyatuha, the front teeth. Then, and she comes from a very famous known family. Then the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the rules are the rules. If she did this intentionally or purposely, she will have the same. Then Anas ibn Nadir said, Ya Rasulullah, Wallahi la tuksaru thaniyatu bintu Nadir. I swear by Allah that the teeth of bintu Nadir will never be broken. Not because he object. In Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the beginning said, Ya Anas, kitabullah al-qasas. Ya Anas, it is the rule of Allah. But he said, that's not what I meant. That's not what I'm doing here. But I know that Allah will never let this happen. And guess what? In no time, the family changed their mind. They said, you know what? We don't want that punishment to the girl. We will be happy if she paid us. Understood. Then in Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, surprised how things change in no time. Just after this man made that vow. Then in Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Inna min ibadillah, man law aqsama ala Allahi la abarrah. Among the servants of Allah, there is people when they make vow, Allah honor their vows. That's why al-ulama rahimahumullah said, that vows that they made upon Allah, it comes from what? From full trust in Allah. That they trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so much that they feel so near to Him. That they tell, Ya Allah, I ask you, I swear by you that you do this and that. Because that's how much they are close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even though they know that they are weak. They know that in the end, it's in the hand of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But indeed, they have that much trust and tawakkul in Allah. And Allah grant them what they ask. This is the greatness that we should be seeking. When you are great, when you are so near to the greatest things ever, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In the famous dua that we say when we feel weak, when we feel oppressed, when we feel hopeless, the Prophet ﷺ asked us to say this. لا إله إلا الله العليم الحليم. لا إله إلا الله رب العرش العظيم. لا إله إلا الله رب السماوات ورب الأرض رب العرش الكريم. That is all about the greatness of Allah, to remind you of the might and the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I do believe that many people don't realize that by being near to Allah, being near to the most greatest things, that will provide you greatness as well. Because your greatness always comes to what did you associate yourself with. Is it great this, is it great that? Because you associate yourself with something great. So what do you think if you are associating yourself with Allah Azza wa Jal? We seek fame by hanging around people who are famous, because we want people to look up to us. When people look up to you, you feel satisfied, your ego satisfied. So what if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He look at you and He's proud of you? When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves you, we post pictures, we post dress or food or whatever on the social media because we want so many fans and likes. But what if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who liked your post? Somebody came to me and said, I can't believe it, Sheikh Waleed. You know what happened today? I said, what happened? He said, you know, Sheikh Yasir Qadi have retweeted my tweets. Oh, he feels like that's the greatest thing's achievement in his life. That's just a makhluk. Yes, Sheikh Yasir is a great man. But can you imagine if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala repeated your words? How Umar felt when he and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam disagree over something, and the Prophet said, that should be the rule. It's a debate, it's not yet a legislation. Then Umar said, Ya Rasulullah, that should not be the way. It should be this and that. And Allah sent a Quran 5 times to support Umar's opinion. How great this man is. When you feel that. You feel so great when you study hard a difficult subject. When you go to a field which is so hard, like medicine or some, genetic studies, and you become specialized in something very unique. You work hard to be the most important figure in your company, to be the employee of the month, to be the A students, the top of your class. And you feel so proud of yourself. You work hard to get a good house, big salary, a lot of good vacations, good clothes, so on. But all these things in the end of the day will soon vanish. These things is not the real meaning of greatness. The real meaning of greatness when Allah tells you, you are so valuable to me. Innaka indallahi ghal. You're so great when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, so and so, I forgive you. So and so, I accepted your umrah. I accepted your dua. I accepted your sadaqah. Not when you got 10,000 people in your post saying, Umrah Mubarakah, Umrah Mubarakah, Umrah Mubarakah. The most important thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that. I swear by Allah, our heart's so attached to the dunya for 2 reasons. Number 1, because we underestimate the value of Allah and we overestimated the value of the dunya. We're so attached to the dunya because we underestimate the value of Allah and what He has for us in the akhirah, and we overvalued this dunya. Su'ila ba'd al-salaf, one of the early scholars, was asked, how do I realize the greatness of Allah? How can I keep that in my mind and heart? He said, son, can you imagine if one of your soldiers called Jibreel has 600 wings, one of them enough to block the horizon. How great this one is. How great the Lord of that angel is. I want you to always think about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so He became you really the one that you try to please all your life. How great He is. وقالوا اتخذ الله ولدا سبحانه بل له ما في السماوات والأرض كل له قانتون بديع السماوات والأرض وإذا قضى أمرا فإنما يقول له كن فيكون. They say Allah has taken a son, exalted He is. Rather, to Him belongs whatever in the heavens and the earth. All are devotedly obedient to Him. وَإِذَا قَضَى, and if He ordains something, subhanahu wa ta'ala, if He decrees a matter, He only say to it, be, and it will be. That's the one that you should care for. وَلَهُ أَسْلَمَ مَنْ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ طَوْعًا وَكَرْهًا وَإِلَيْهِ يُرْجَعُونَ. Everything in the heavens and the earth submit itself to Allah. وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ أَن تَقُومَ السَّمَاءُ وَالْأَرْضُ بِأَمْرِهِ ثُمَّ إِذَا دَعَاكُمْ دَعْوَةً مِّنَ الْأَرْضِ إِذَا أَنْتُمْ تَخْرُجُونَ وَلَهُ مَنْ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ كُلٌّ لَهُ قَانِتُونَ. And of His signs is that the heavens and earth remain by His command. That's the great things. That's the greatest thing ever. To be connected to the one that everything in the heavens and the earth under His command. Then when He calls you, He will call you from the earth, you will come out, which is in the day of judgment. Everything in the heavens and the earth belong to Him. Everything belongs to Him, and everyone submitting themselves fully to Allah. كُلُّ لَهُ قَانِتُونَ. He is the one who created you from nothing, from weakness, and make you strong, then you'll go back to weak. Hold. He created whatever He wants. He's the most knowledgeable. He's the most capable. This attachment to the dunya and to the people and to the creations and forgetting the Creator is amazing. I don't know if I can say it amazing. It's very strange for a believer. Wallahi, our heart, look and dig deep in your heart. You see that you rely on humans way more than Allah. You trust people more than Allah. I will never forget a sister came to me in the masjid and she was complaining to me, telling me, oh, I have this, regardless if it's true or not. I have jinn, I have magic, I have whatever, shayateen come over me and all this. Then I told her, I want you to read this adhkar. Then she said, no. I'm telling you, there is jinn, there is this, there is that. And I said, sister, you know what? It's amazing to me how much people believe in jinn more than the dhikr. They believe in the power of the creations more than the power of the Creator and the words of Allah. It's amazing. This have many applications in our life today. It's amazing how that we value the successful people based on the dunya. But when I see someone is successful in the akhirah and their deen, it doesn't mean much. Oh, he just hafid. He just knows sharia. Look at how people treat the people of knowledge of sharia and the knowledge of other than sharia. Forget about the fake respect that some imams get, which is only lasts for you seconds or minutes. But look deep in the heart. Do you really value this? Because it's attached to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Is really the one who have the taqwa is the best among us, as he's the best in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's eyes. You know, keep this in mind. Maybe this is something you can think about more after this lecture. Fame, in my opinion, is a mean. Cannot be a goal. Greatness is a goal. Fame is a tool, is a mean you can use to achieve greatness. But unfortunately, a lot of people, fame became the goal, became the ultimate goal that they want to achieve in life. And that's why you will see people use even their religion to achieve fame. They will use the deen to achieve fame, to be famous. And that's, as some ulama rahimahullah said, Al-Ghazali and others, they said, that's the worst of people, who use the dunya for the He used the akhirah for the dunya. He used the religion for worldly reward. My brothers and sisters, the reality is that this dunya is temporary. Soon will vanish. And the real meaning of life will appear upon you in the moment of your death, believe it or not. The real meaning of life actually appear in front of your eyes the moment when you die. And at that point you will know what greatness means. That all this fame and all these things that we're running after means nothing at that point. كل نفس ذائقة الموت وإنما توفون أجوركم يوم القيامة فمن زحزح عن النار وأدخل الجنة فقد فاز وما الحياة الدنيا إلا متاع الغرور. Every soul will taste death, and you will only be giving your full compensation on the day of resurrection. So he who is drawn away from fire and admitted to paradise has attained indeed the best, attained success, the real meaning of success. And what is in the life, what is this life, and this worldly life, except the enjoyment of delusion? That's how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described it. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في الترمذي ما لي وللدنيا. What I have to do with this life? What I have to do with this life? I'm like a traveler who stopped for a while to have a nap underneath the shade of a tree, then continued his journey. That's the dunya. Is that shade? Is that nap that you took in your journey? That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling us the reality of this dunya, it's a means, it's not a goal. This dunya never was the goal. يا أيها الناس إن وعد الله حق فلا تغرنكم الحياة الدنيا ولا يغرنكم بالله الغرور. O mankind, indeed the promise of Allah is truth. So let not the worldly life delude you, and do not deceive about Allah by the deceiver. فما متاع الحياة الدنيا في الآخرة إلا قليل. But what is the enjoyment of this worldly life compared to the hereafter except a very little? قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, if this world worth the weight of a mosquito's wing, Allah will not have given a kafir in this life a sip of water. But because this world means nothing to Allah, He gave it to everyone. But because the akhirah means a lot to Allah, He only give it to those who worth for it, for those who deserve it, which is the believers. Al-Mustawrid Ibn Shaddad said that the Prophet ﷺ said, the example of this dunya and the akhirah is like this, and he took his finger, index finger, and he dipped it in the water like this, and he said, like when you dip your finger in the water and you come out, whatever is stuck in your hand from the ocean, that's the dunya, and the akhirah is the ocean. You make the comparison. The Prophet ﷺ gave us so many reminders in the Quran as well, and I want to end up my talk because I have a surprise for you. All this reminder, why? Because so many times means became goals as the journey of life continued. We forget that in the end of the day, the goal in this life is not this life. It's not the money, it's not the fame. The goal in this life is to end it while you're a great person. We're persons who are honored and respected and loved by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first. A person who really made a real change. There is a difference between real greatness and fake greatness. That's why Imam Malik rahimahullah, when they told him there is many people wrote book like you to be famous, he said, مَا كَانَ لِلَّهِ يَبْقَى. Whatever written for Allah will remain, because Allah said, كُلُّ شَيْءٍ هَالِكٌ إِلَّا وَجْهَهُ. Everything will perish except His face, yani except what is done for Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. I have found today many people so fascinated, so excited, so attached to things what I call it bubbles. Soon will go away. Soon will disappear. You find people so excited about these new trends and new things that, all their effort, all their focus seeking it, thinking that this is what really make the change in society and community. I went to an Islamic institute to give a talk, and I found that they are so fascinated by studying some of the modern things in fiqh issue, has to do with, let's say, gender identity or political issues, and all these things. I tell them, hey guys, that's not ilm. It's shame that you focus on this and you don't know yet the rules of fiqh and the rules of salah and tahara and ibadah and zakat and hajj. These things, I can talk about these difficult topics and jama'at and groups and people and the difference between this group and that group to make you famous, but that's not solid knowledge. That's not greatness. You know what's greatness? What's greatness is to learn the Quran, is to learn to read how to read Arabic, is to read a book, is to write a research, is to touch somebody's life. Greatness is to focus on politics or policies. There's a difference between the two. Politics maybe make you famous, but policies make a real difference in people's life. Those who seek fame, they might find it. They might be famous, but that's very short period of time. That's why Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen, once I heard him saying, be aware of two types of scholars. One scholars, he called him alim sulta, the scholar who served government. And another scholars is the one who served the public. He cared for the fame among the public. The first one wanted to be famous among rulers, and the second one famous among the public. All what he cares is the people to accept him, to be famous, to be known, to have many people attend his lectures. But he doesn't really care about benefiting them. He doesn't really care about touching the issue that really they need. No. My brothers and sisters, think about this a lot. Because what kind of greatness that we achieve in this dunya if we ended up in hellfire? What kind of greatness you achieve when it comes to have a great son and a great daughter, but they lose their deen? What kind of greatness if you know everything about the dunya and you know nothing about Allah? What kind of greatness if you win people, but you lose Allah? What kind of greatness in our da'wah if we got accepted by every group and every faith community and every minority in the country, but we're not accepted by Allah? What greatness we achieve if we make so much money, but we don't invest this money in the right way? What kind of greatness we achieve with the next generations if we teach them to accept indecency, fawahish, and normalizing this in their life? What kind of greatness if my life just ends when I end my life? Us life is very short. بل تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا والآخرة خير وأبقى. You prefer this worldly life while the hereafter is better and more ending. When I look at, it is hard for me when I see a young boy, I ask him, what do you want to be when you grow up? He said, I want to be a gamer. I said, what do you mean? He said, I want to make games and play YouTube. That's why I play so much PlayStations and I do a lot of work. A lot like, Fortnite and Minecraft. And I want to be, I said, what's this going to do to you? He said, oh, Sheikh Waleed, you don't know. I said, no, I don't. He said, do you know that some of these gamers are so famous, make so much money? And he said, let me check out. And I found this guy, PewDiePie, he makes $60 million a year. Or $12 million a year with 60 million followers. And this Spaniel guy who's mastering the Minecraft, 24 years old, with his videos have more than 13.3 million followers. And this young boy, that's his model, that's fame. That's fame, that's not greatness. When someone tell me, Sheikh Waleed, I want to be like Cristiano Ronaldo. He has 118 million followers. Or she told me, I want to be like Celine Gomez, whatever her name is. You know, I didn't even bother myself searching. But she beat Cristiano Ronaldo. She has more followers than Ronaldo, 132 million followers. Is that what it is? We're living in a very weird time. When your feet worth more than your brain. It's very strange. It's very strange when you live in a time, you know, where things completely different. When basically your book and pen worth nothing, your research paper worth nothing. But your clothes worth a lot of dollars and a lot of money. And even it's not about money. You know what's the sad part? It's not the money. It's worth really in people's mind and heart more. I don't mind if you're basically, your coat is more expensive than pen. I understand that. But when it's really in your heart, that's more important than who you are. What kind of, value that you live on, that's sad. When we don't know the difference between the two, we have no ikhlas in our work. We have no tarbiyah. We have very weak influence on people in the next generations. We're not going to be doing all the jobs because some job doesn't make you famous. You know, the usher outside is not as famous as the one who do the MC. You know, when we don't understand the difference between two, our role models become so messed up in life. Remember, fame is fleeting. Greatness lasts almost forever. Fame can come quickly, but goes quickly too. Greatness takes time, takes effort. Fame come easily, but greatness, as I said, take effort and put effort in it. You know, there is people become famous by inheritance. They come from a royal family, famous, live this, live that. But greatness never comes as something that you inherit from someone else. It only has to be earned. Fame may get your name in a script in some sidewalk or a star on Hollywood street, or some, 2017's, most famous person. But after that, you'll be forgotten. But greatness will make your name written in Aliyin, where a book cannot be erased, cannot be changed. Fame is really all based on what you gain in this life. But while greatness is based on what you give in this life, what you contribute. That's why I'm so proud of a group of my community who have decided to do something great in the end of 2017. No camera, no CNN, no heroes of the year, but they, inshallah, heroes in the front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Went to the most forgotten community in the face of the earth, who have nobody speaks on behalf of them, nobody lobby for them, unfortunately, which is our brothers and sisters in the Rohingya. They went to the middle of nowhere. Even people from the subcontinent telling me, Sheikh, I don't know where I'm going. That part of the world, unknown to us. And they went and they did a great job. Because that's another concept of greatness that I didn't talk much about today because I want to focus on the first point. But I will let for a few minutes. I want to invite a representative of them, and that's a family. Dr. Musa and his wife, Sister Ashma, and Dr. Safana as well, all from your community, have gone with a number of doctors and physicians and people who submitted, or basically committed themselves to help in the Christmas weekend in the end of the year and travel all the way to the Rohingya camps. And I want you to see this because I do believe what I said earlier. Your greatness comes also when you're around people who are really great people. And those are great people. I want you to feel great about yourself, great about our community by hearing their stories for just a few minutes. So I introduce Dr. Musa, Sister Ahmad, Dr. Safana. Come on.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Dr. Abdul Rauf Musa. I'm a family physician. I'm not going to move you physically like Sheikh Waleed did, but I'm hoping to move you spiritually and mentally. Before I go into what we had done, I'm going to have Dr. Safana Hassan give you a little brief history on the Rohingya plight.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Safana Hassan, and I have been asked to introduce the people of Rohang, or the Rohingya that we commonly know them as. So we hear in the news as far as the Rohingyas fleeing persecution, but a lot of us may not know who are they or why they're fleeing and what they're fleeing from. We're talking about this small piece of land that sits on the Bay of Bengal between the Indo-Pak subcontinent and the Southeast Asia, which is currently in what used to be the land of Arakan or Burma, currently known as Myanmar. If we go back to history, even during the 8th century, when the Arab traders were coming in and settling there in the Bay of Bengal, there was a lot of Islam being, Muslims being settled in that area. Then came the Mughals, and at that time there was some interland trading between the people of Bangladesh, which is a Muslim majority area, into that area. And right after that came the British Empire, who, because they were profit-based, were actually encouraging a lot of Muslim migrants coming from India and Bangladesh into that area to raise rice for profit. As more and more Muslims came into this area, there was a lot of resentment building up between the Muslims as well as the Buddhists of this area. Then comes World War II, and at that time, as the Japanese Imperial Army was approaching, the Muslims were more pro-British. The British armed these population to defend themselves, but on the retreat of the British, they were left defenseless. And after that, the Buddhists came and, of course, started killing. However, after World War II, they did get their nationality and their independence back till 1962, when the Burmese junta took over. And at that point, they started systematically getting rid of their rights by initially taking away their jobs. Their businesses were given over to the government. In 1977, they were starting to register citizens, and although 135 other ethnic groups got the label of indigenous ethnic nationality, the Rohingya, because of their pro-British sentiment of World War II, lost that and became, by 1982, they became illegal, having lost their independence, their identity, and became stateless. So at that point, because they were foreigners, it was easy to get rid of them from that country. So they were tortured, burned, raped, murdered, and slaughtered. So even though they could go back to the 8th century and trace their roots back as Muslims in this country, they were now left stateless. They were left without any identity, without any nationality. They lost their freedom of movement. They were restricted in one particular area, and they did not have access to any higher education, or were not allowed to hold any government or civil jobs. And the result of that persecution, that oppression, the abuse that they have gone through over the generations is what you may be able to see in the video that has been prepared for you all. Assalamu alaikum.
So I went with an incredible group of 6 physicians, and a lot of people have asked me, what did you see over there? A lot of depression, what we call post-traumatic stress disorder, kids that were not smiling, adults sad, depressed. We saw the traditional diabetes, high blood pressure, cholesterol problems, a lot of kids with ruptured eardrums because they did not have any medical help to go through, a lot of skin problems because they're walking around barefooted. A lot of kids are basically naked and just playing in the dirt over there. So it sort of saddened me to see this, and actually it was fine to one degree because I did see a lot of assistance from the United Nations and Turkish government and others who were trying to help the Rohingyas. But I would like to now introduce you to my wife because she's the goal. That's the reason why we, 6 physicians, went, because she's the fire behind us, okay? I'll introduce Ashma.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, Sheikh Waleed, for this opportunity to bring light to our medical mission to serve the Rohingya refugees. My quest of wanting to do more than just giving donations and seeing the suffering of these people would break my heart, and responding with a sad emoji on social media and moving on with my day was not enough for me. I made an intention that I want to go and physically touch them and show them that they are loved and we feel their pain. I thought to myself, if I only could touch one life with compassion to bring a little ray of hope to them. I decided to email Imana and told them I wanted to go there on a missions, start with the conversation with them, and we were writing back and forth. One late Ramadan night, I was up late, and on Facebook, I got an instant message from Dr. Meher, the chairman of Imana. He said, "Sister, I know you have been wanting to go to Rohingya medical mission, and can you and your husband go within the 2 weeks? We desperately need physicians to go. We don't have many going on this mission." I thought to myself, of course we can, because I don't know how to say no without thinking when it comes to any charity work, and Sheikh Waleed can vouch for that, and my husband. I was trying to wake my husband from his deep sleep and told him, "Wake up, we need to go to Bangladesh in 2 weeks." And he gently touched my hand and said, "Dear, go back to sleep, Mother Teresa." And that was a no from him. I wrote back to Dr. Meher, "We can't go in the next 2 weeks, but I promised him I would put a team together of physicians together from Houston and make this not just a medical mission, but a spiritual mission combination." The first person I asked was Sheikh Waleed to go with us, to lead the spiritual leadership for this mission, but unfortunately his schedule was not allowing him to travel during the month of December. But between myself and my husband, we were able to get the word out, and quickly 5 physicians jumped on the idea to go. Alhamdulillah, all of them are amazing, giving individuals with a heart of gold to give back to humanity. We had other physicians wanting to go, but on this mission, we could only bring 7 on this particular mission. Our dates were set, we started our preparations, and we had to update all our immunizations, prepare ourselves mentally and physically. It would require us to walk, hike, slopes, and anything and everything to get inside the camps and to get to the people and set up clinic.